and welcome to the next podcast. And today we have Dinah here, who is going to be explaining to us a little bit or a lot about her business, which is Menopause Pilates. So Dinah, do you just want to take it away and explain to everybody what you do and what you give back to women as they go through the menopause, etc.?
Hi there. Yes, thank you for asking me to do this. Well, like many women, I struggled in my own menopause, and even though I've got years and years of exercise experience in my body, in my brain, I really had to think about what it was I was doing, and I had to draw on all my skills from different trainings to help myself through this phase. And I realized more and more that actually I am seeing many women coming to my studio suffering in the same way, and that actually what I was working out for myself would be very beneficial for many more people, many more women. And already, obviously, with Pilates, I've been working with women who have got pain issues, structural issues, bone density issues, and so on through the menopause. But identifying that there's a vast array of women who suffer and don't necessarily associate it with menopause, and perhaps they need help understanding that the symptoms they have are actually related to perimenopause and menopause, to get women to become more aware, because I really feel strongly about education in this area. We just don't talk enough about it, we don't have opportunities to talk about it, and I feel that in the Pilates class, a mat class, or in the studio, this is the brilliant place to open up discussion, get talking, get rid of taboos, discuss things that women don't necessarily get to chat about.
Okay.
So yeah.
And if somebody came to you and they were suffering very much from menopause and they hadn't done much exercise before, what would be the first step, the first bit of advice? How does it work?
Well, I always start with a one-to-one. So we look at what's happening for a particular person, a particular woman. And recently I was working with a lady who came to me because she needed some strengthening for her back, and it was a generalized statement. And she had exercised before, but she'd been losing the ability to exercise because of pain, and that's something I see quite a lot. So we looked at her case, what was happening, and then looked at the wider background, really. So she began to think about the connections between her hormonal state and what was happening in her body. So it's really important to make that connection, that it's not a separate thing, that what is happening in this hormonal change and shift creates these pain issues, creates lack of sleep, creates all the different things we know that go with menopause. So I find it's very helpful to discuss it in a wider context, then come back to the actual exercise program and teach very precise strengthening exercises and work on technique. So we gradually layer that in, because it's really, really important that women feel they understand and know what they're doing with their bodies. Because it's a frightening time. I mean, anxiety is such a big issue in the menopause. So pain creates fear. You've got all sorts of different things going on. So reassuring clients when they come that actually it's okay, you're not going crazy, and the pain, yes, it can be part of the whole menopause syndrome, or what I call the menopause mystery tour, because you just don't know where it's going to take you, do you? I mean, it is a mystery tour.
Yeah, it is very much a mystery tour. And so your ladies follow your exercise plans, which are Pilates based. And do you help them with the psychological aspect of it as well? Do you have a discussion group? How does that work?
What I've got in terms of I kind of work with it in different ways. So I've got the workshop, which is specifically for women who want to focus on menopause, Pilates for menopause, and they want to also look at breathing, mindfulness, meditation, education, discussion in a group. So I run separate workshops, and it's very sad I had to cancel one which was going to be at the Newsom Health and Wellbeing Clinic, Menopause Clinic in Stratford, once we hit this phase, but that will come again, hopefully. And then within my studio, I'm often working individually with women along the same line, but we look at that whole concept really, because I'm also trained as a meditation teacher, and I think it's very important that we have access to the skills of self-observation, of breathing, methods to allow ourselves to calm down, which is so important when it comes to exercise as well. So kind of can't do one thing without the other, is my feeling, because they come together, which is what I found in my experience, drawing on my different skill base. So we will look at the exercise, we will look at what issues are really important for that particular woman in her own personal menopause journey, and we'll look at basic skills to address anxiety or for breathing, ways to find space for her individually. So if it's in a group, it's got a workshop format. If it's individually, we can tailor it more to each person, and obviously signpost women to other therapists or to their GP, or anywhere which it seems appropriate, or to a nutritionist, if it seems that that is what she needs to focus on. Okay, really interesting. You touched there on your other skills. So you're meditation coach, is that correct? I'm a meditation teacher, yes. Okay. I trained, and I still work with Alexander Filmer-Lorch, who set up a school called Inside Meditation quite some years ago. He's written several books, and I've taught on his faculty to train other teachers. So it's a method of meditation which is non-denominational, and it works from movement to stillness, which fits so well with either yoga or Pilates. And yoga, of course, has the spiritual side and is associated with meditation. Pilates does not have the spiritual side. However, the breath work and that focused mind and body connection is a perfect gateway into a form of meditation. So I don't see that the two should be separated necessarily. And in Menopause Pilates, I aim to bring that aspect in for women so they have another resource if they wish to use it. That's a really interesting and vital combination, because quite often we neglect our own space, don't we? And that ability to de-stress ourselves and reduce cortisol and really calm down. And going back beyond that, were you always in the fitness industry or the health industry? What's your background? I've always danced. I started dancing when I was a little girl, and so loved ballet, frustrated ballet dancer, but didn't have the body for it, but loved it, kept moving, always had to move. But I went into teaching, so I am actually originally a primary school teacher, but I carried on teaching dance as well and getting more and more experience in dance and fitness teaching. And I realised that I much preferred teaching movement than teaching in schools. But I come from, my father was a teacher, his father was a teacher, so teaching is a very instinctive thing for me to do, which I love doing. And so being able to teach movement over the last X number of years, has been a great joy to me. And that's how I came ultimately to Pilates, going through the jazzercise, aerobics, and gradually coming into Pilates in the late 90s. At the time thinking, what is this? It doesn't, I don't seem to do much in this, but then gradually understanding the implication of the actual program. And it is something that we can continue as we become older as well, rather than those high impact, quick faddy exercise. Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, I've taught and do teach women in their 80s and 90s. So it has got a really wide application. Superb. And if somebody was open to looking at what you do, how would they get hold of you? How would they go about? Well, at the moment, I've got an Instagram account, which is Menopause Pilates. And my website is actually Contemporary Pilates. That's my studio, which is slightly separate. And I've been Contemporary Pilates for many years because I'm much more on the contemporary side than the classical side of Pilates. But the Instagram is a good way, or Facebook. Other than that, yes, on contemporarypilates.studio. Superb. All right. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And I wish you all the best with your business. It's absolutely fascinating. I love the way that you combine the meditation with the Pilates, and also the learning to take that deep breath and look after ourselves. Really important. Super. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.